This episode of Tales from the Lot is sponsored by ShakedownT-shirts.com with unique lot-style T-shirts, license plate frames, coffee mugs, and all sorts of things for Grateful Dead, Fish, Zappa, Panic, and more. ShakedownT-shirts.com, where all U.S. orders over $35 ship free. And just for Tales from the Lot listeners, use the code LOT20 for 20% off of any order. That's LOT20. Tales from the Lot, Episode 9, Untethered from Time. Just me here today talking about my first show, 6/7/91 at Deer Creek. First of all, thanks so much for listening to Tales from the Lot. I'm truly grateful for the responses and to everyone who's listened. In this sort of mini episode, I'll be sharing my experience of seeing the Grateful Dead for the first time at Deer Creek on 6/7/91. And if you've gotten this far, you've undoubtedly heard some of this story before, and I'll probably share some of it again. But first things first, did you know that you could also watch Tales from the Lot on YouTube? I have a YouTube channel, and you can go there and subscribe it. And if you prefer watching the show rather than listen, you can do that. I also have a Facebook page. If you want to be notified of when new episodes are released, you can go over there and like the page, and you'll get that. You can also just email me and say, hey, at will@talesfromthelot.org. That's where I also take, requests. If you want to be on the podcast, just send me your story there, and, we'll get you on the show and tell your story. So, how did I find the Grateful Dead? Growing up, music was always a very important part of my life. As a kid in the 70s, the beat and groove of disco and soul and funk were everywhere on pop radio. And at the same time, my aunt was turning me on to Bob Dylan and the Beatles and the Allmans and her personal favorite, the Outlaws. And then later, as the 80s hit, I discovered Prince and his ability to play all the instruments on his albums. And this was a great inspiration to me. It led directly to me playing all the instruments for my solo albums, which I release under the Rude Nephew Orchestra. You can go out there and search that if you want. By the late 80s, I was playing in bands, which I still do to this day. And at the time, I was starved for new inspiration. And being in central Indiana, there was not a lot of musical inspiration. 1991 comes around, and my buddy, who we'll call Jay for now, comes back from military school, talking about the Grateful Dead and how I should go with him when they come to Deer Creek. I was familiar with Touch of Grey. I liked the video. The song was just okay. And the tapes he played in the car, with the hiss and the crowd noise and the Raspy Jerry lyrics and the weird sound effects and drum sections, I didn't know about this stuff. That's not how Aerosmith or Rush or Guns N' Roses did it when I went to see them. But I agreed that if he would buy my ticket, I would go. I have sort of a faded memory of standing in line at Karma Records to get my tickets for that show. That's where the Ticketmaster outlet was in my town. And wondering who the hell these people were and where did they come from in my little town, because I had certainly not seen anybody looking or smelling like they did. So the day arrives. We get to Deer Creek. And having been to Deer Creek 10 times or so prior to this, I was surprised by what I saw. I remember it was a great day. It wasn't that hot, especially for June in Indiana. I'm not certain I bought anything in the lot, but I was definitely intrigued at this point. I remember walking around and just, asking a lot of questions. Why that guy's got his finger up? What's with all the drums? Why do people keep whispering in my ear as I walk by them? It was a learning day for sure. So Jay had a couple of tabs of Orange Sunshine, and as we queued in line to enter, we downed those, and it was my first time, and it was definitely the perfect place for it. We settled into the lawn, and I don't remember too much after that, just sort of flashes and feelings and images, really. The first few notes of Half Step and the crowd reaction. I remember Little Red Rooster and the bright lights shining as the lyrics, sometimes the lights are shining on me, which were lyrics that I knew for some reason at the time and couldn't put my finger on it. Then drum starts, and Jay says, meet me at the car afterwards. and he was gone like fucking Santa Claus with a snap, just out. And drum starts, and I think I could feel my brain melting, and then space started, and it was definitely time for me just to sit, catch my breath, and you know there was a miracle in there, and I don't remember too much of that, but Standing on the Moon happened, and that was a moment when it really connected, and I could see the power of a Jerry ballad. It was definitely not lost on me that night, and still to this day, that's probably my favorite Jerry ballad. But that's hard to say. Later that night, I remember somehow becoming untethered from time in those final Sunshine Daydream choruses of Sugar Magnolia, and thinking, yeah, I'm gonna be doing this again a lot. I did find my way back to the car that night, a changed person, and Jay dropped me off at home with a tape of 12/16/86 from the Oakland Coliseum. And the J card for that XL290 tape was all colored in custom and decorated. It was unique and very cool. And I faded off the sunshine in bed that night to this very strange song listed on the tape as Estimated. Hey now, do you have a great story about a Grateful Dead show you were at? I'd love to hear it and maybe have you on the podcast. Send me an email at will@talesfromthelot.org and let me know what show you would like to talk about and what made it so special to you.